Jeff Dubay Show. No cocaine eyes at this table. It's my favorite line from the song. Can you hear us knocking? 20,000 have in the last month and a half, or nearly 20,000 have.
Yeah, you got satin shoes.
I gotta always let it go to the cocaine eyes line.
Yeah, you
It's
got
coming.
nasty boots. Y'all got cocaine eyes.
Not at this table, Mick. Not this time.
Yeah, you got sleepy time.
It is the Jeff Dubay Podcast. We come to you live from Devil's Advocate. Well, maybe you're not listening live. I should stop saying live, shouldn't I? Because I don't know when the fuck you're listening. I mean, seriously. I got to
We'll
stop.
edit out live when it's
Well,
not
you know,
live.
I've gotten good at not telling people what time it is. I mean, you spend 15 years on AM radio. You tell people what time it is.
You got the
I walk
program
down-
director running into you going, time and temp,
Seriously.
time and temp.
I walk down Nicollet Mall telling people what time it is. I mean, I can't get out of the habit. But when we're doing the show, like I'll say, hey, we're a minute past the hour, so people know how far into the show we are.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a freaking genius, is what I am. I'm
Pretty
adaptable.
bright.
I'm pretty much adaptable, is what it is to all situations. But we are live at Devil's Advocate. The guest is Terry Daniel. You'll probably recognize his voice and not know who the hell he is because he's on every commercial. You and Dan Culhane, basically, are on every commercial you see on TV, radio, anywhere. And basically nobody will ever know who you are. And you like it that way.
Every single commercial you hear on television and radio in the entire country, that is my voice.
You are on.
And I'm not arrogant.
Now, what are your biggest what are your biggest accounts? Give me something I've heard you.
Oh, I don't know. I've done a lot of stuff for like Great Clips, Hallmark, Mall of America.
You know people at Hallmark?
That's on the local side. And then nationally, it's just all over the board. But, my biggest niche, if anybody even gives a shit about this, is theme park announcements for like Stone Mountain Park, Darien Lakes Amusement Park in New York. I'm the guy.
Those sound like really lame places. Darien Lakes.
Well, like Six Flags,
Hey, let's go.
roller coaster. If you've ever been on the roller coaster and the roller coaster slows down towards the end of the ride and you kind of hear that voice, please keep your hands and feet inside the ride until the ride comes to a complete stop.
That's you, huh?
Before you exit to the left, please put out your joint.
I'm going to put
wait a minute.
I'm going to put
What?
that on my bed for my wife.
The Darien Lakes Amusement Park? I mean,
Oh yeah, Stone Mountain Park in Atlanta, and
is
then
that a
Six
real
Flags.
place? Is that a real place? I
It
mean,
is a
what's
real
the,
place,
what
right.
is there Main attraction? The Milker or something?
Dubay
Don't-
Amusement Park in New Mexico. That's I
Dubay's
do all that voice stuff. And
Dubay's Amusement Park. We know where
Here
that
it is. It's amazing. You just you don't even have to have any credentials to come on this show. I don't even.
Oh, this show?
I don't
Of
even
course.
belong here.
Well, you have to have a record. Do you have a record?
Oh yeah,
Jesus.
yeah, big time, big time.
Yeah, no, you don't just stepping off the street here. You gotta be street tough. You gotta be hardened. You gotta be scared straight. Damn it.
Yeah, absolutely,
right.
absolutely.
So we are. Oh, by the way, you mentioned Hallmark. Do you know anybody at Hallmark? Because I've got so many greeting card ideas in my head, and they'll bring you to tears.
No, I don't know anybody.
All right,
there.
that's too bad. Because I'm a real sentimentalist.
I just collect the checks.
Well, then tell them to fuck off.
Wow.
And of course,
That's one of them, by the way. That was one of them.
And of course, we just got done with political season, and I think we can all agree that we're going to be pretty happy that Election Day is over, so we don't have to hear those fucking ads anymore.
Yes.
You know what?
No matter what side of the aisle you're on, it just gets sickening after a
The
while.
one element of my addiction that I never talk about, is the real cause, is I wanted to get a felony so I wouldn't have to vote again.
That's one way to do it. One way to do it.
It was a plan. I'd had it with voting, and I didn't want to hurt anybody, so I said, okay, well, addiction, possession.
I knew there was a
I
motive.
just stopped
I knew there was a
voting.
more
I didn't-
important motive.
Yeah, I
see
didn't know there's
Jeff.
another way.
Well, I didn't want to own firearms either. And I was afraid I'd go buy a gun.
You can see Jeff with his nephew on his knee. Someday you'll have the choice to vote, or you could get a felony like me.
A non-violent
Life lesson
felony.
with
A
Jeff
non-violent
That's
felony.
true.
My
You know-
options were go beat the shit out of somebody or become an addict. So.
Both of you guys should have gotten a felony for that shit show on Twitter about
Oh,
6 months
come
ago.
on.
Oh, here he goes.
Here
Well,
he
actually,
is.
I wasn't going to tell you, but for Halloween, I was your Twitter feed.
Oh,
Like 5
nice.
months ago. It
Were
was
you
just
really?
going back and forth, this
Oh,
big
shut up. You
shitstorm.
were
Yeah.
not.
And people knew it. I walked all over downtown. Oh, yeah, the whole Dubay Bernard thing.
Nobody knows who I am anymore, and I'm fine with that. Nobody.
They never knew who I was, so there
Nobody
you
knows
go.
any. Well,
You got a lot of ink, I'll give you that.
well, not good ink. I got. I mean, Sansevier destroyed me, and then CJ. Well, fuck CJ. I couldn't care less what she says.
It was all a promotional
Oh,
stuff.
I almost just used the C word on my podcast. They will not go that low.
We're all about
I
the
won't
comeback.
go that low. I mean, I say that. I drop plenty of F-bombs, but only when I'm worked up. But I almost just called her the C word on my podcast.
It's
and I
an
stopped
effective word.
Why don't you
It's
have her
very
come on the
effective.
show and you could call her the C word in person?
Because, well, I hate her. I mean, I don't think I want to be in a room with her. I don't want to acknowledge her existence. I think she's a horrible human being who lives.
How do you really feel?
Well, where's the comeback story?
she
She should have done a comeback story if she's going to spend all that time.
Well, yeah, exactly. She not only lives off the misfortunes of others, but she ignores the fortunes of others and feeds into the misfortunes of others. She's the devil. So she belongs here in a certain sense. This is the devil's advocate. We are downtown. We're on 10th. We're right between Marquette and Nicollet. We are around the corner from the local, and I don't want people to think I mean it in a negative connotation when I say if you're a beer snob, this is your place. Because I dig beer snobs. I don't like people who drink Mick Golden Light. If you drink Mick Golden Light, I got no time for you. If you drink Bud Light, I got no time for you. I keep ruining possible sponsorships, don't I?
Hey, did they got Keystone Light here?
Oh, who's ready for a Keystone?
Who's ready for a pig's eye?
Did I ever tell you about my pig's eye story?
Oh, you told me this.
Well, I mean, I was playing in Kent Herbeck's charity golf tournament, and the beer cart just kept coming around and around. And by the end of the day, I'm like, can we get a real beer? Oh, just the cart was loaded with Pig's Eye. That was a sponsor of the tournament. Can we get a real fucking beer? This Pig's Eye sucked. I was golfing with the guys from Pig's Eye. I had no idea.
Jesus.
I had no idea.
Nice.
I was just completely oblivious to who I was playing with. Well, there's something about you get into a charity golf tournament, you get into a scramble, and you just kind of, I don't know, you just kind of tune out what you're doing and who you're with. Like, I've told this story before, too. I'm in a golf tournament with Chuck Dickman, who at the time was the program director at CCO, and Dave Lee.
Yeah.
And we got a couple of rubes, whatever.
Chuck the Dick Dickman. You remember him?
Yeah, I remember Dick.
Okay, well, this is, the P and Dubay show had been going for like 7, 8 years at this time, maybe 5, 6, 7 years. And by the time we get to like the back 9, Dave and Chuck pull me aside and ask me what I do for a living. I mean,
that's nice.
You
say I don't cater to shut-ins?
Well, that's just a little embarrassing because we were, miles ahead of them in the ratings. You'd think they'd want to know something like that. But just a couple things we want to get off the top, just because they are significant. We don't try to be too timely here. It's a podcast, and I don't know when you listen. You listen when you want to listen. That's the beauty of it, just as long as you listen. But today, as of today, my today, I don't know what the fuck your today is, but my today, it's November 4th. In my world, it is November 4th, 2014. At least I think it is. Is that correct?
Yeah, as far as I know, it still
Bob
is.
Dylan's playing the Orpheum tonight. Did you know that? You're unimpressed.
Dude, like 3 nights in a row, correct?
Yes, that's
I've
correct.
seen him like 8 times, but I think I'm actually done seeing him. The
I'm
last
done
one was a
seeing
little
him.
rough.
Yeah, well, he can mail it in, but he's
Yeah.
92 and he's emphysemic. I mean, he can.
Well, and he can mail it in an environment like the Orpheum. If you see him in a really large arena, he doesn't really do anything for me. But in an intimate kind of setting, he rocks.
Yeah.
He's still Bob Dylan.
Yeah,
Yep.
I agree. I love him. And the Orpheum's a great venue. I saw the Counting Crows there, and I was in the orchestra pit. Swedberg's wife got me tickets.
Oh, yeah.
She was always really hooked up.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I was like belly up to the stage. I mean, Adam Duritz almost sweat on me. It was pretty cool.
You kind of had a little bit of a man crush on him, didn't you?
Well, I mean, I have had Courtney Cox and Jennifer Aniston recommended me as friends on Facebook.
Nice.
So he and I have more in common than you think. don't forget it. But anyway, in my world, it's November 4th, 2014. And in my world, Adrian Peterson had a plea agreement today. And in my world, he sure as hell better be playing for the Vikings a week from Sunday. Who do we play a week from Sunday? Should I know
Chicago.
It's at Chicago.
Oh, suck it, Bears.
It's at Chicago,
You get the
yeah.
comeback. And he has, if I'm not mistaken, 2 of his 3 or 2 of his 4 all-time rushing totals, highest total single-game totals against Chicago.
And he's probably the most
killed
fresh
him.
he's ever been in his career, maybe?
Yeah,
I mean,
and he outweighs Jared Allen by like 30 pounds. I mean, he really does. Have you seen Jared Allen this year?
Oh,
He looks like a
Has he
girl.
even played?
he has like 1.5 sacks this year thus
He
far.
had pneumonia or something ridiculous. Yeah, my phone's ringing.
You always take
why don't you
phone
take
calls
that?
right in the
Yeah,
middle of the
take that,
show
take
on
that
your
on
cell
there.
phone.
It could have been important.
I mean, I can't believe it. He stops dead in the middle
There's
of the sentence
3
to
other
look at his
people
phone.
here. You guys can talk.
it's your show.
It's coffee talk. Talk amongst yourselves.
So
Here's a topic.
I'll take something. We all work together. So Jeff and Terry and I all worked together at Clear Channel. That was our connection.
Yeah.
That's how we all know each other.
Have
We did. Well, Jeff, I don't know if you remember that, but Jeff, years and years ago when you were in the first K, what the Wells Fargo building is when K-Fan was?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I started at Frontenac.
Well, I actually came in and we actually had like a 5-minute conversation about voice acting.
Really?
And the second we started talking, Dan Cole's on the other side of the glass giving us Brown Institute hand signals. The like wrap it up, and I just got on the air. I was like, "Who is this fucking guy?" I just started talking, and this fucker on the other side of the glass is telling me to wrap it up. Who is he? I was very naive, a caveman back then. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Was this the place in Bloomington on 494?
Yes, yes.
I mean, when I started at the Fan, it was in a house, basically. You remember, have you guys ever been to the place on Frontenac?
I know what you're talking
It's
about.
off Cretan, kind of,
Yep.
Cretan Vandalia exit. It's basically a house in the middle of a neighborhood with towers coming out of it. And it's like the neighbors just got to be freaked the fuck out. I mean,
Is that where Rev was? Wasn't Rev over in that area?
they might have taken it over, but when I started there, it was KFAN in the basement, or KFAN in the basement, K102 upstairs, and it was bizarre. I mean, it was just a house. It was a house with desks. I remember one of my first overnight shifts ever. I had to go upstairs and ask. His name was Jake Calhoun. I'm sure it was his real name too. He was a country music DJ. And as I walk up there, he's pulling a quart of vodka out from under the board. I'm like, Jesus Christ! They didn't tell me
Y'all
about
want
this.
a little snip of
That
this?
sounds like my kind of work.
They never told me
That's
about
when
this.
radio was
Brown.
fun. That's
It
when radio
was.
was fun.
Yeah.
Oh,
And
man.
very non-corporate back then.
Well, or maybe the nights after the big open house when you come in and find Thortolo sleeping in the conference room.
Really?
He could. Oh, God.
Nice.
Well, you don't think he does that stuff sober, do you?
Oh, there were so many good stories.
But when we moved to Bloomington, my favorite Bloomington moment was PA and I were doing the show. We had just started doing the show. We were still as green as could be and easily distracted. And Angie Taylor flashed us through the window
no,
from the
did she
KDWB
really?
morning show. Oh, don't say,
Wow.
oh no. It was tantalizing.
I bet it was.
Do you remember Angie Taylor?
Oh, yeah.
I do.
How come you'd say that with an expression? I mean, you had a look on your face like, oh, I remember.
Well, yeah, well, of course I remember.
But you don't seem like you
Look,
remember
you
her
got
fondly.
sick of her.
No, it was that was many moons ago. I mean,
She mooned you?
I've had such a huge radio career. I'm
Were you-
just a huge smash hit on the FM airwaves.
Okay, you know what? In all honesty, we haven't really given you a proper introduction. I want you to, in this, well, I don't ask you to
Is
be
this
serious.
is this going to be your lowest rated podcast episode ever? Because who's this? People are like, who the hell is this Terry Daniel guy?
I've had
Why the hell is he bringing him on?
Oh, I've had childhood friends. I've had buddies. I've had next week. I think I've got the guy coming in whose wife wanted him to come in. It's his dream to be on sports radio. And this isn't exactly making it come true, but it's as close as we could do for him. But you give people a thumbnail on who you are and what you've done, Terry. This is Terry Daniel. He's a voiceover guy. That's what I would call you, because I'm an industry insider. So I just say a voiceover guy. But you've been a DJ. You've done all that crap, haven't you?
Yeah. And for those of you that don't really know what voiceover is, when you see a commercial on television and you just hear the voice, that's basically what I do. But it's it's a huge industry right now because audiobooks are a big part of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
And there's never. I work from my home studio at home, which is great. When all my friends are bitching, in the middle of the wintertime that they're in rush hour going to their 7th mandatory fucking meeting in some corporate office, I'm sitting in, naked in my studio
gonna say, no
recording,
pants?
recording commercials,
God, we think alike.
narrations, podcast intros, e-learning narration from the comfort of my own home. And the beauty of this gig is it's different every week.
And the truth is, it's all because he was just too lazy to hold a regular job.
Hey,
Well, no,
Or I
it works.
couldn't hold a regular job.
Well, the fact is that he tried to do it at the office, at the corporate offices, nude, and they just said, it's enough.
Go
They
do it at
frowned
home.
on that
Enough's
after
enough.
the first couple of
Enough's
times.
enough. Yes, that is correct.
Oh, hang on, we got to go to our first sponsor. Ray Christensen is here.
Oh, really?
For
Thank you, Ray.
this is Ray Christensen for Washburn McCready. Newburn over to Burton, back over to Newburn, over to Shikenjansky. He puts it in, and the Gophers take the lead.
That's pretty good. I'm a big Ray Christensen
I
fan.
loved him.
That's my
Man,
big
he was
sports
great.
contribution.
You mentioned Washburn McCready, and I don't know how my weird mind works, but one of my all-time favorite shows was WKRP in Cincinnati. You guys watch it?
Oh, I love that
Because
show.
there was a bizarre episode where they couldn't do a commercial because it was a funeral home or something. But I made a WKRP reference on this show yesterday, and neither of the two Jasons knew what the fuck I was talking
I didn't know the reference. I knew the show, but again, I was 4 years old when it came out, so I have an excuse.
Well, we're living in that era. It's like, like my nieces and nephews, it's like you mentioned like Happy Days and Cheers.
Nobody gets
and
references
They think
anymore.
you're like
Yeah.
on shrooms or something.
Yeah, I know. Well, I mean,
Well, there's also 50,000 new shows to keep up with. It's
Yeah.
hard to remember
There
all
are-
the
there
references
are a
from
lot
all
of
the old
crap
shows.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, I just can't get over how old I'm getting. That nobody gets my references anymore. Like the baseball team I coached this summer. I mean, they're 19-year-old kids. I mean, they're not 5-year-olds. They're 19-year-olds, and one of them even has a shirt that says college. So I make an Animal House reference, and nobody gets
Oh,
it. And I'm
no.
like, well, then how can you wear the shirt that says college if you don't get the reference?
Oh, no doubt about it. If you had any reverb on this mic, I could do just a real quick Bob Casey
don't-
for you.
don't
but
push your luck.
But I don't think it'll work without a little bit of echo. This is the only way I think I can contribute to the sports talk, because other than that, I really never, ever know what the hell I'm really talking about when it comes to sports. Oh, there it is right there.
Oh, wow, he found it.
How about, is that too much?
Ladies and gentlemen, please stop throwing quarters at Chuck Knobloch. This is a championship game. Now quit this.
Yes, that was the best.
That was the greatest. Was that not the greatest game ever at the Metrodome? We always talk about the World Series games, but
Nice
were
job. I want to applaud Jason Montgomery
Oh
for
yeah,
the,
nice,
for the
nice,
instant
nice
effect.
job on the
Very
reverb.
nice.
But really,
I'm here for it.
when the game, they almost stopped the game
Yes.
and had to forfeit because these fucking fans wouldn't stop throwing shit at Chuck Knobloch.
And it was dollar hot dog. It was dollar hot dog night. That did not help.
Yeah, it was one
No,
of
that
those.
did not
It
help.
was a dollar dog night, and the dollar dogs were flying.
Bunch of drunk college kids throwing hot dogs.
Throwing hot
and-
dogs, yeah.
Even
And batteries.
Even
and-
Tom Kelly went out to the outfield and kind of did this to tell him to knock it off,
Yeah.
and they still started chucking stuff.
Yeah.
And that was a sad period of time because Herb Carneal was finally starting to kind of lose it a little bit. So you had the old
Yeah. Well-
okay, and now Jason Morneau throws the ball over to somebody
Well,
else.
and the string of events it took for Chuck Knobloch to be in the Metrodome, hated, and play in a position where he could have access because he's out in the outfield.
Oh, yeah, he's out there in left
swing a
field.
hot
He
dog
had,
at
he had
him.
to become an asshole that we couldn't re-sign, so we had to trade. And then he had to become a mental case who couldn't throw the ball to first base, so he had to be moved to the outfield, where he could be reached by weak-armed fans with batteries.
But remember that he would pick
the
up the
string of
What a
events.
long fall.
If he had to make an urgent throw to first, he was always right on. But then if he had time to
Had to
think
think
about
about
it,
it.
it was just wasn't that just bizarre?
He's one of the
he
weirdest.
just couldn't do it.
He's one of the weirdest guys. When he, they do Twins Fest every winter, and they did at the Dome, obviously, for a very long time.
Yeah.
And it's in February, and it was 1991. He was expected to make the team out of spring training. He was the star of the minor league system, and they pretty much had him penciled in to be the starting second baseman. So they brought him up for Twins Fest. Nobody really had met him or knew who he was yet. I mean, we knew of him. And he was this little Opie-looking guy with his hair combed and his tie on. I was a bat boy. He called me sir. He said, yes, sir, no, sir. I'm like, who the fuck is Opie over here? Who's this guy? I mean, he's polite. He's a southern gentleman and just the nicest guy. And within years, well, I mean, now he's a wife-beaten lunatic. I mean, he weighs like 500 pounds. He lives in a trailer park. And not that there's anything wrong with that. But
No, that wasn't
The weight or the
disparaging at all.
trailer park?
when you go back and see World Series highlights, there's a couple things I'd like to point out to people because you don't. I mean, unless you were there, you don't get the behind the scenes on this. When Puckett hits the home run and there's all the pandemonium, we'll see you tomorrow night. You'll see Knobloch jumping around like a maniac. I mean, he's going nuts.
Yeah.
I mean, he's freaking out. I mean, he almost had to be subdued. Like TK and guys had to pull him aside and say, "Just go sit down and shut up." I'm not kidding, because he was yelling, "It's over now." I mean, he's going. He's
he
yelling.
took it too far?
He's yelling, "It's over now! It's over now!" I mean, like TK grabbed him and said, "Chuck, you got to calm the fuck down and go sit in the corner." I mean,
Go sit
I mean,
Like a little kid.
if they would have put a bottle of champagne in his locker, he would have popped it and started pouring it on people's heads. It was Game 6.
I know.
I mean, he had to be reeled in like no professional athlete ever has. I mean, it was outrageous.
That's too bad because so obviously he's got some severe issues. I mean, we know that now. But
Yeah. Well, yeah. And he used to be a real good guy. The other story I like to tell people is you remember the game that Morris pitched? Would have been Game 4. He went 1-4-7.
Yeah.
And TK obviously knew what he was doing. He knew he was going to need Jack for Game 7, and he wanted him rested for Game 7. So he wasn't going to ride him deep into Game 4. And thank God, he got 10 innings out of him in Game 7. But you remember the play where Lonnie Smith barrels into Brian Harper and throws a forearm into him? Practically knocks him out.
Yeah.
Jack Morris is backing up home on that play. And if you go back and watch the World Series highlight tape, go find it. As Lonnie Smith is walking the dugout, you'll see Jack Morris's head turn to the right, and he'll chirp. He said, next at bat, in the fucking ear. He told Lonnie Smith. He just hit his catcher. And Jack's hardcore. I mean, Jack is a bad son of a bitch.
Is he?
He looked at Lonnie Smith, he goes, it's in your fucking ear. I mean, he was going to throw it.
That's awesome.
So Lonnie Smith's next at bat, he was going to hit him, but he was hitting a pitch count that TK didn't like.
Yeah.
So Carl Willis started the inning, and Lonnie Smith hit a home run.
Oh my God.
And we lost the game because of it.
Oh,
Jack
my
Morris
God.
was going to beat him, but
Wow.
instead Carl Willis went in and gave it up, and it cost him the game. But then Jack got the rest he needed for 10 innings in a heroic Game 7. But isn't that a great little insight?
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Can we trade
He was
live?
going to hit him. I love it.
Speaking of the series back then, by the way, can we bring back Jack Buck, and can Joe Buck be the one that's dead?
Jeez.
Oh, that's
Jeez, I don't know if I go that far, but
Yeah, that's a little
maybe
harsh.
that's a little harsh.
well.
But,
just a little though, just a little.
I don't. Just a little. I mean, seriously.
No, Joe Buck's a weasel. As a matter of fact, on this show, I compared him to Shooter McGavin. He's kind of, not specifically Shooter, but he's, to me, Joe Buck is like the embodiment of every antagonist of any Adam Sandler movie. Pick the black-haired guy from Mr. Deeds.
Yeah.
Pick an antagonist from any Adam Sandler
The Billy
movie.
Madison guy for sure. Yep.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah,
I mean,
for
seriously.
sure.
That's Joe Buck. He's like the rich, privileged Weasley guy. He's Sack from Wedding Crashers. I mean, that's just who he is.
Yep.
That's who he is. But I don't think he does a bad job. I mean, I've gotten over the whole Randy Moss thing. I think he does a reasonable enough job that I don't need him to die. I mean, maybe stub a toe occasionally.
Well, I don't really wish death upon him, but I mean, even any catchy line that he ever does is basically borrowed from his father, and there's just nothing really original about the guy. And personally,
Well, he's Niles Crane. That's who he is. He's Niles Crane.
He really is.
Personally, I'd like to fight him, and I know I can take him.
Well, no kidding, you could. I mean, well, does anybody?
He's probably 5'2".
Well, you know what?
And more pampered than any male should ever be.
I saw a TV promo today. Reality TV is everywhere. It's all they have now. And there's some. It's called like white collar. It's like these businessmen who are pissed at each other and they step in the ring and box or something. It's white collar.
Awesome.
White collar
We
brawlers.
should have had that at Clear Channel.
Oh, I would have liked to take some people
called,
like Clear Channel.
I think it's called. Well, you did. I think it's called your going away party. I think it's called,
that was a different one.
I think it's called white collar brawlers. And the tagline at the end of the commercial is a guy going, "Come get your ass kicked."
Oh, really? Nice.
Come get your ass kicked.
I got to see White Collar
That's your
Brawlers. That's a
champion.
phenomenal idea.
Come get
Sounds
your
very
ass kicked.
entertaining.
We should do like podcasters versus radio people. That would be good.
All right.
Think about that for a little bit.
I was sizing up the competition in my head.
Hardcore. We will play hardcore tackle football above the neck.
Well, I mean, everybody at ESPN's 70, so that's not too tough.
I will
I was gonna say, I
beat
could
the
take those
piss
guys.
out of Patrick Royce.
Seriously, I mean, and
I got Sushere.
And then everybody at the fan is kind of a little sissy-ish. I mean, to be
Yeah,
honest with you.
Royce wide open down the right line.
Paul Allen would be checking his hair the whole time.
Oh, wow. Don't make fun of my guy.
I can't
come
rip
on.
on. I can't
I'm
rip on him.
giving
He's a
him heat.
huge Hall & Oates fan.
true.
Huge Hall & Oates fan.
Now, well, hockey would sing the national anthem. It'd be fantastic.
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
Anyway, I was at Target before the show because it's right around the corner, and I like to take a shit there. So,
That's fantastic.
well, yeah, I
Terry, this is
Did
how you
not
know you're
see
on a
that coming.
podcast. No,
I had to-
not
I
see
think
that.
we
I
should
was
do
on
it
a
in the
bus.
bathroom next time you're in there taking
I
a
was
shit.
on a bus, and I got off the bus, and I had to go, so I went into Target to use the restroom. And there's two stalls. And
You're still taking the bus?
yeah, it is what it is. So anyway, that's not the point of the story. So
No, the point is the shit. Let's get to it.
No, the point is I went into the handicap stall. Even if the regular stalls are open, I kind of like the handicap stall. It's just
Well, you have the right
It's
to, I
spacious.
believe, go in there unless there's a handicapped
Well, this
person
is my
that walks in
thing.
there.
Well, this is my thing that I don't get. We're not allowed to park, and I don't want to use politically incorrect terms, so I apologize if this offends anybody. But we're not allowed to park in the handicap spaces, but we can shit in the handicap stall. But I give you two scenarios.
In the toilet in the handicap.
Physically, well, yes, but
Not just in the-
a physically.
door.
Come on now. Here's two scenarios. Physically challenged man in a wheelchair needs to park his car, but somebody's in his spot. Physically challenged man in a wheelchair needs to take a shit and someone's in the shitter. Which situation has more urgency? Which is the bigger problem? I mean, well, think about it.
I think we need
Is there
to
any
test
such
it.
thing as a parking emergency? I don't get it. How come we can't park?
Well, there's always enough parking spots. That's actually never a problem.
Well, you should just avoid it. I mean, I don't know about you
But
guys.
again,
I mean,
that leads into my point.
I can't get up quickly if somebody comes in there. I mean, I
No.
need at least 10 minutes to heal and
To
recover
text
before.
your friends, as I have learned.
10
I've
minutes.
read entire
Get that phone
audiobooks.
off the table.
I've read entire audiobooks on the shitter.
So have you? But that brings me back to something else you said earlier. You said
I'm not a quick get up guy. It's at least 2 fucking hours for me when I'm on.
Do you
the
record audiobooks? Is that one of your gigs?
It is, yeah.
Do you do anything like 50 Shades of Grey like?
No, I did.
Nothing
well,
dirty.
I did
Do you
speaking
like?
of sports, I did Herbeck's Tales from the Minnesota Twins dugout audiobook.
Really?
Yeah.
I'm not familiar with that.
And then
didn't know
I
that.
asked
That's
him
great.
about it. He goes, "Did I write a book?"
Yeah. Well, I mean,
That doesn't surprise me.
well,
I'm sure he probably maybe wrote 2 or 3 notes and then hello,
yeah.
ghostwriter.
He gets a check.
Oh, sure.
It was a cool book. You would
When did
actually
it
you'd
come
like
out?
it because you grew up. You were in the fucking dugout during all those years.
I know. I
Came out a
probably
couple
remember.
years
I remember
ago.
a number of the stories. I told these guys this once before that it was always a very festive occasion when Toronto came to town because we had always get a version of "O Canada," and Herbeck had his own words to "O Canada," and
sure
it was
he did.
his lyrics. I will not go through the song here on the air, but it was called "O Blue Vein." And it was about a vein that was responsible for a while, it was on his, and it made his, go up.
Right.
We got it.
So he would sing a song, "Oh Blue Vein," and then I'll give you the highlight. The line, "God keep our land glorious and free," was "God keep my hand callous free."
You had to die laughing
It was
every time you
it was
heard that.
unbelievable.
did read the book
And
then.
for some reason, I can't tell you why, he always sang it in the character of Baron von Raschke with like a thick German accent.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He's always like, so he just people. He started to get sheepish about it because the word spread and all you had like the real clean cut. Go-getters like the Steve
Oh, yeah.
Lombardozzi's of the world. They're in
Yeah.
the top step of the dugout with their hand on with their cap over their heart. But even they started to get word of old Blue Vein, and when Toronto was in, the Twins' dugout would be empty during the national anthem because everybody's in the runway.
I guess Herbeck now teaches a spin class at the Y. I don't know if you.
I hope they keep a defib close by.
No doubt.
Until I met him, I didn't realize he's like 6'5".
Oh, he's massive.
He's just a huge guy.
He was one of the most imposing figures to see at the plate. I mean, he just was huge. I mean, he is huge. But I mean, one of the most, I don't want to sound fruity about this, but he's one of the most graceful athletes I've ever seen.
Oh, he's incredibly nice, too. Every time I met him, he's been...
It was one of the few audiobooks where I could actually...
Said fruity. That's a terrible thing for me to say.
You did say fruity.
I'm sorry. Should I not
we'll
say
edit that with the live comment,
God,
too.
I didn't mean fruity.
And maybe the shit.
I don't like calling other men graceful. I'm not that secure.
Let's just edit the whole thing. Let's start over.
What was nice about doing his audiobook, it was the only audiobook where you could actually get away with actually putting chewing tobacco in your mouth while you're narrating the entire book. Because you have to be kind of like Kent Herbeck, right?
Yeah.
It's just about being in character.
Oh, you were being...
you should have farted.
Herbeck?
Yeah. Farted.
Oh, yeah, I farted and got drunk and read the whole thing.
I'm probably going to say too many things that I shouldn't say here, but on Sunday mornings...
Again.
On Sunday mornings, David West would come in and just destroy the bathroom. And people would like gather around outside the stall to listen to it. It was like the 4th of July.
Oh, no.
It was
Did they have jalapeno Saturday or something?
That was unbelievable. It was just, I would stay out on the main part of the clubhouse, and you could just, for 20 minutes, you would hear stuff you just wouldn't believe.
This will either be our lowest rated show or highest rated show of all time.
Yeah,
and I'm ashamed of the people that listen to this one.
Well, it was really lowbrow stuff on Sunday morning.
Please feel free to tweet or Facebook your shit stories at Jeff Dubay. That's at Jeff Dubay.
Yeah, I know. It's a little lowbrow at the moment. There's no doubt. But and then I'm back at Target, back to the scene of the crime. So I'm getting a little pan pizza and sitting at the windows. You got the little lunch counter there, so you can watch people walk down Nicollet Mall. And I'm sitting there, Sean walks by. So I jump up and I start pounding on the glass to get his attention as he's walking by. But there's also like a really good-looking blonde that I didn't notice coming from the other side. And she like looked at me like I was trying to hit on her, like I was some kind of weirdo. It was really an awkward moment. I was just trying to get Sean's attention. She's like, was
she scared or was she just flattered?
I think Sean made it sound like she was hot for me.
She smiled at him, and I'm like, oh, God, we've lost Jeff for the show now. Because, besides, making money here and there, chasing women is another big passion.
No, I don't chase women. I do not chase women. I'm seeing somebody. I don't chase women. They're going to get me in trouble.
He never called himself monogamous, but...
I am too. Well, no, I'm having sex with nobody, so I'm non-monogamous. Is that what?
So you're married?
I'm non-monogamous. But anyway, what the hell are we going to talk about for the next 33 minutes?
Let's not go for football a little bit.
Did we ever even say, who thinks AP plays a week from Sunday night?
Yeah, we did.
Do you think we never really got back to it?
You know what? Yeah,
we?
You're right. We do get sidetracked. I do go on tangents. It's very much like my real life.
It's tough, spending 25 minutes talking about bowel movements.
I mean, he made a mistake. I mean, we've been over this. That you don't flog a child to the point where he's scarred and bleeding. I don't think it makes the man a monster. I was on Twitter today when this story came out. Somebody tweeted it, and then you see all the responses under it. Somebody right away put child abuser. And he's not a child abuser. He's not somebody who beats children randomly. He was punishing a misbehaving child. He just lacks the proper parenting skills to do it in a proper and appropriate manner. It doesn't make him a child abuser or a monster. And the fact that there were so many torch carrying villagers chasing Frankenstein when this whole thing was going down, that they all thought, this man should never play football again. He should never play for the Vikings again. We want nothing to do with him ever again. It gets to the point where everybody gets so caught up in the mob mentality, and they all want to be on the right side, and they all want to be so righteous and down with child abuse. Yeah, thanks for the big stand.
Gutsy.
Yeah, really gutty. Really courageous. Not on a limb, all by yourself with a million other people that want to put Adrian Peterson to death because he made a mistake. The point is, to think that a man's career should be over because of that, or that he shouldn't have the right to or you don't want to play for your team anymore because he made that one mistake. I mean, Ben Roethlisberger basically almost borderline sexually assaulted somebody. I mean, he was like feeling and groping and grabbing and cornering and
corner in a bathroom.
And
right?
now he's thrown 12 touchdown passes in 2 weeks, and they're building statues to him. I mean, people just. I'm not saying that that's the right way or the wrong way to handle this, but Adrian Peterson has sat out half of a football season, and if people want to come back and say, "Oh, but he still got paid," I mean, that's not the point. The point is, he was kept from doing what he loves, what he does. Career numbers, records, things of that nature have gone by the wayside in the last 8-9 games. Wasted time, wasted opportunities. I think that is. I mean, it's hard to equate. It's hard to quantify. what over physically punishing a child should equate to in terms of punishment. But I think that what we've seen is sufficient.
You don't think he should forfeit some of that pay?
Well, you know what? He could make a donation or two.
Yeah.
I wouldn't
Well,
kill
that's
him.
what-
He
that's what I
does
think-
make a few of those, though, too.
Well, he'll be making a lot of donations.
The only positive thing that could come out of this are a couple of things. One, that he heals with that son, and two is that he becomes a spokesperson, to not do what he did. And
Right.
at least you hope that some dad or mom that's about ready to lash their kid stops and thinks for a minute. I mean, that's what I hope comes from that, because my problem with it was that he didn't do it twice. He didn't do it 3 times. He hit the kid 14 times. Now, I like you, think, he doesn't deserve punishment for the rest of his life, but he does deserve punishment. And he
does.
is only
Of course he does.
getting to do this no contest because of his money. And so, you look at all that stuff, and I personally am not a fan of his anymore. That's my opinion. The guy should be able to do his job eventually.
Sure.
I believe in forgiveness, but then again, I don't know. I still think he's going to be a Dallas Cowboy next year.
Well,
That's my gut
don't
feeling.
you think it's going to be tough? I mean, I don't really see him playing, at least for the rest of this year. And is he, at the end of the season or whenever could they get a couple of decent defensive guys or somebody in a trade for him? But is that still going to make the Vikings look like, well, now it'd be just the same as them asking him to come back and play?
I don't think you can get anything for him. Well, not much, just because the NFL is a weird animal. Draft picks are so valued over proven talent, especially if you're talking about a position that is so devalued as running back. We've got to the point where you don't need a guy who carries it 30 times a game for 1,500 yards. As a matter of fact, a lot of teams almost look at it as a burden. Like, if you have a guy like him, you got to feed him. And the league's about how well you throw the ball right now, not how well you run it. I'm not saying that you don't have to run it a little bit, but I mean, if you're gonna put a draft pick value on Adrian Peterson right now, I don't think it would be higher than a 3rd or 4th. We're in a different universe than the days of the Herschel Walker trade. I mean, to say that's never going to happen again is the understatement of the year. Mike Lynn wouldn't make that trade today. So it would take an idiot in a different era to make a move like that. And
why do you think, Terry? Why do you think he wouldn't play this year? I mean, he's going to be. If it's going to be a misdemeanor, there's felons in the league. Why would they not
felons in
let
this
him?
room?
Right.
My God, are you
why
actually?
Why would they not let him play?
You're actually asking a voice actor for their opinion on a sports question.
Well, you started it.
No, I know. It's very bizarre. I think with the way it's going in the NFL, I can't see. It could really go either way, but I can't see the Vikings actually making that decision to say, hey, we're going to suit you up and put you on the field at Chicago. There's been enough PR problems with this team.
You don't think the Wills want the
years.
money worth, though? They see
Well,
value
I do.
there.
There's part of me that's kind of a hypocrite because, there's a small percentage of me
them too.
that wants to see number 34 on the field. So.
34.
28?
Who's 34?
Or 28, I'm sorry.
Herschel
That was
Walker's
Ted
34.
Brown.
No, you got me going on the Herschel Walker. Wasn't Walker 34?
Yeah.
Ted Brown was 23,
You
wasn't
got
he?
me going on that.
Teddy Brown, yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
he was. Well,
Is Scotty Graham available?
I mean, there's hypocrisy everywhere. Because the Vikings reinstated him, and then the next day, we wanted.
They never wanted to suspend him.
Well, yeah. Then the next day, it's we wanted to get this right. Well, no, you didn't. You got a phone call from U.S. Bank, and they told you to get him off the field. Corporate. Well, I don't mean to pick on U.S. Bank. Corporate sponsors nailed them, and U.S. Bank's their biggest corporate sponsor.
It's all about money.
As a matter of fact, U.S. Bank stands to be the title sponsor of the new stadium. They're one of the Vikings' biggest clients, if not the biggest.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying U.S. Bank was wrong. I'm not saying they were wrong at all. I'm saying the Vikings are wrong to say we want to get this right, because that's a lie. You wanted to appease people.
They wanted whatever would make them the most
Yeah.
money, and that's why they'll probably play him relatively soon, because they're probably losing their ass this year.
Well, and you know what?
on,
They should play him. There's nothing wrong with Adrian Peterson playing in the National Football League right now. I think, in all fairness, I think it's sanctimonious to say he shouldn't. I think it's just to say that.
But then, wait a minute. What has his punishment been then? It's been he gets to sit on the sidelines and watch his team go 500 without him. Ooh, that's his punishment because he's getting paid.
That's a bigger deal than you think.
while getting a
That's
paycheck.
a bigger deal than you think.
And I would hope it is
way
to him
bigger.
actually, but
I don't mean to be one of these. Oh, you guys just don't get athletes, but when you take away their ability to play, you take away everything. That means more to them. But if you're a guy like Peterson who's sitting on a pile of money, taking away a guy's ability to play hurts him more than anything.
Okay. I guess as a non-athlete, I don't see that as being so painful. In fact, for him, especially as a running back, to get half a season off is actually a beautiful thing.
Well, but then you got to think into fact, all this idle time, he's probably impregnated 10 more women. It's going to cost him a lot more than you think. It's going to cost
long as
him,
he's not hitting.
financially, it's going to cost him way more than you think. He's on the 18-year plan for probably if you could do it concurrently. I mean, if you did it, what's what I'm looking for? Well, if you stretch them all out, he's got hundreds of years to pay. Let's just put it that way. If you couldn't do them all at once, if you stretch it out,
if they do dump him off, who wants to see Marshawn Lynch in a Viking uniform next year alongside McKinnon and have those two be your backs for next year?
Well, you know what? I don't know, because I don't want to be. This is going to sound hypocritical. I love Adrian Peterson. I think he's as good as I've ever seen. But having him can be a little bit of, I don't want to say it's a hindrance, but you when you have a guy like that, you become so married to it that you start to ignore other elements and other facets. I mean, if you have Adrian Peterson and you don't give it to him 30 times a game, you're doing something wrong. But by doing that, it's hard to win in the NFL when running the football. It just is. Yeah, you just can't grind it out in the NFL and be successful anymore. You've got to be inventive. You've got to be a little more open. And if you do run the ball, you've got to run it with more spread read option stuff. You can't just throw a tight end out here and a fullback behind you and just turn left, turn right, hand off tackle all day. And when you have Adrian Peterson, you're almost obligated to do that.
Although the one thing they do gain with having him out there that I don't think they use enough
too, kind of.
is the play action. That's the one thing that he has to be, because if he can bring the guys into the box, I think there's something to that, where in the passing day game that he can still have an effect.
That's where I felt bad for Bridgewater, because I think he's the real deal. And I know that people think that some people are getting a little carried away with his early success, and that let's go, whoa. Well, you know what? Bridgewater has no support. The offensive line is awful, and we've got unproven running backs behind him. I'm not saying Asiata and McKinnon are without talent, but you can't build an offense around either of those guys, certainly not at this stage of either of their careers. But if you put Peterson back there, and now you've got all these guys in the box, and maybe not as many blitzes, things are going to get way, way different for Bridgewater, way easier for Bridgewater. So I don't know if I'd go after Marshawn Lynch, because he's about the same age with about the same wear and tear as Peterson.
Yeah, and he's going to cost a ton of money.
And he might start hitting that downside. And we've been running backs, these physical guys who pound on defenses and get it 30 times a game. They hit 30 and they start to fade. I'm not saying that's going to happen with either, because they're both freaks. They're both beasts, so they might not. But you are rolling the dice, and it takes upfront money to get guys like that, and upfront money is dangerous when it comes to a position where you could kind of hit a precipice and have your career drop off, or at least your production drop off pretty drastically.
What the hell happened to Khalil? I mean, Khalil couldn't block my cat from taking a swat at my dog. He really could. I mean, what the hell happened to him?
He's embarrassing. I can't.
Is it over for him?
No, it's not that. I mean, he'll get more chances because of the investment in him. I mean, the high pick and the money although the money's not outrageous, because they finally did put some restrictions on rookie salaries, thank God. So I don't know exactly how much money he got up front, but it's not going to be over for a guy like that until he does something just really, really. I mean, he's got to fall off the map completely for it to be over. You just give a guy like that chance after chance after chance.
But seriously, how many chances does he get? Is he through this season, and then after that you start looking, or
I don't know.
I mean, you don't draft there yet, but geez, he is so bad.
Well, he makes high-profile mistakes, which makes you think that maybe there's a chance that on a play-to-play basis that he's not as bad as we think.
When you're actually breaking down film.
I mean, we used to have Steve Loney on the show, and he was the offensive line coach. And he told us what his Sunday night to Monday was like, and it sounds torturous. Like, they'd fly home, they'd get home Sunday night, he'd go right to Winter Park, he'd put in the offensive tape, just a tape of every offensive play. He'd watch the first play, then he'd rewind it, watch it again, rewind it, then he'd do it 5 times. The first time he goes from left to right. The first time he watches it, he's watching the left tackle. Second time he watches the left guard, then he rewinds it and he watches the center. Then he rewinds it and watches the right guard. All the way down the line. Every play 5 times to grade out each player for every play. And it takes him about 15 hours. All night, God. Sunday into Monday. So I mean, they don't, nothing gets by anybody. I mean, they know how you, see you when you're sleeping. They know when you're awake. I mean, they know every play this guy makes and every play he fucks up. And
they don't have an option, right? That's the other problem.
They're very banged up. But I mean, he's a left tackle, so when he screws up, it's a sack. When he screws up,
blindside.
Yeah, when he screws up, it's a high profile play, and it's easy for us to remember his mess ups. But there's a chance. Since we're not grading him on a play-by-play basis, that he hasn't been as bad as we think. It's just, his mistakes are Herculean. I mean, they're just disastrous. But I think he's off.
A lot of times he's literally, you look at Bridgewater, you look at Khalil's standing up, turned around, and the guy is just sitting on.
He doesn't even know where his guy is.
When I see him, he seems light to me. He doesn't seem.
Yeah, he doesn't seem like a big stick.
Yeah.
Not next to Load Holt. If you have Load Holt and Khalil up there, it doesn't look good.
No, he's. I don't know what it is, but the play where it was 2 weeks ago. It was a running play to McKinnon, and Khalil got pushed so far to the backfield that his ass tackled McKinnon 7 yards deep. I mean, it was so awful. It was so awful.
Oh God!
But I mean, that's the kind of play I'm talking about. I mean, it's inexcusably bad. And
his Twitter handle is Ass Tackler now. Ass Tackler.
It's just, I don't know. He comes off on TV as a horrendous, miserable failure. I hope it's not as bad if you break it down.
But he's good with kids.
Basis. Is that what they say? Is that what they say? He's got a nice personality.
Sometimes I feel bad.
He's got a nice personality. He's the blind date of the NFL. It's just.
He is.
Yeah, but I mean, when
he's kind of got that label now, so all the announcers are going to pick on him, right away. So if he has like one bad play, they're going to be all over it. They're going to talk about it for like 10 minutes because he's got that label of guy that's just not getting it done right now.
I mean, he was when he came out in the draft. They were saying that he was like as good a left tackle prospect as there had been, like in 5-10 years. I mean, like this is the guy you draft. You put him there for 10 years, you don't have to worry about it anymore. I mean, it's the kind of draft pick that bores fans to death because everybody wants to. They all want the sexy pick. They all want the quarterback or the running back or the linebacker or whatever.
Or even Barr. People were like, what?
Yeah, I mean, so it's always boring. But I mean, I remember getting ready for that draft and paying attention to what was happening leading up, and it became apparent that's the way they're going to go. I just kind of, all right, it's one of those things you got to do, but at least we won't have to worry about it for a while. Oh, yeah, guess again. I mean, it's like we bought the economy car and it broke down. We wanted to get the Jag. We went out and got a Corolla and it blew up. I mean, so we got the worst of both worlds. It's no fun. But
am I the only dork that wants to see a little more Marquise Gray? Am I the only Viking dork that says that?
What do you want him to do?
I just maybe throw him the ball or something.
He's
freaking
huge. I mean,
well, don't you think they should just see what he can do? I mean,
it took me 2 weeks or 2 or 3 weeks.
Maybe it's asinine to say that, but I mean, I'd like to just see what he can do.
For like 2 or 3 weeks, I'm like, who the hell is 87? Because he's so big.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, you don't look at that and think that's Marquise Gray. I mean,
he's playing wide receiver, not tight end, right?
I thought he was tight end of special teams.
Oh, maybe he is.
He was on. I believe he didn't he retrieve a kickoff or a punt during the last during the Washington game?
I don't know.
He might have. But
I was in and out of that game.
I thought he retrieved the early because the guy kicked it kind of short, and I think it went to Gray.
Oh,
but he didn't really do much there.
Yeah, I mean, I hope he's making his mark on special teams. I mean, I hope that he's doing things that Prefer is appreciating and making note of because he's not. I don't think he's the kind of guy who's ever going to make a big impact on offense. So if he's going to carve out a career, it's going to be. Doing the little things. So I hope that's what's happening. I hope he's getting it done. I want to take time to mention a couple of things here. We are not a standalone. It is a part of a network. This show is, and there are numerous shows, including the man to my left, Jason McGovern. He hosts something called the Pubcast, and look at that, I got the name right.
Hey, yeah, you said it right. It's the first time.
And you are going to be doing 2 shows a week, correct?
Yes.
Now, well, go ahead and give the details. Give the folks a little preview.
Well, we'll plug each other with this because you
Jesus.
do. Well,
Wait.
What kind of show is this?
You should shake his hand first.
Oh, boy.
Can I come on and ruin your show too?
Unbelievable. Okay, go ahead.
Anyway, after Wild Wednesday, tomorrow night at Burger Mo's, we will be doing the Pubcast, Molly Burke and myself, and then Thursday nights from 5 to 6 at O'Gara's. Not that the time matters unless you do want to come out and see it live. And then... what else do we have on the Live Social Network? You want to?
So they're both right here in black and white.
Yeah, Wednesday night we have a live music showcase featuring The Last Ride, and then they bring in a different feature artist every week. They're going to have a band called Hired Round in this week. And then Friday night, starting this Friday night, live band karaoke at O'Gara's, where you actually get to be the rock star. You get to go up with the band. They get the lyrics right in front of you, and you get to sing.
Do I get to bang trashing women?
You do.
Fantastic.
You do. You get to just don't smash the guitars. Terry and I have done this for years. We started the deal over at Glick's, which went on for years, but we're bringing it over to O'Gara's Friday nights. And then we got Rusty Gatenby's review as well with his fiancée, Jennifer Vach. And that show is released every Monday morning, and they do both an audio podcast as well as a video podcast.
So you can
and we
see just how huge his head is.
We can. And so there's one more thing. I can't announce it yet, but tomorrow at Burger Mo's, hopefully we'll be announcing a new show.
A new show? Really?
I can't tell you what it is.
Have you told me what it is?
No.
You have to.
No, I haven't.
Really?
No, I haven't told anybody.
Wow, top secret.
Okay. Well, and that's the other thing we should announce is that we are at Burger Mo's tomorrow for Wild Wednesday. There's a Wild game tonight. Well, I see tonight. Again, I don't know when the hell you're listening, so I shouldn't say tonight. But the Wild...
the Pittsburgh game.
In my world, in the Tuesday, November 4th, the Wild are playing the Pittsburgh Penguins. And on Wednesday, November 5th, I'll be at Burger Mo's with the Wild Wednesday crew, Jason McGovern and company, and we'll be trying out a new spot
And
on West
for
7th.
those that don't know, Burger Mo's is 2.5 blocks away from the X down West 7th.
The downtowners
that's it, huh?
across the street from there.
Yep.
And,
Nice spot.
So we've met with
Who's picking me up?
Mo Sharif. We've met with Mo.
This one's
Sharif-
actually close to me, so
Yeah.
no, you're coming to me this time.
We met with Mo Sharif, the owner, and then Wendy, one of their marketing people. Mo was the nicest guy on the planet.
He is
was
a good
so
guy. He's a
nice
good
to
guy.
us.
Nice.
Yeah, he was
And
a great
Wendy's
guy.
a sweetheart, too.
Yeah, she's terrific. So we're excited to get that rolling. It's going to be good to bring Wild Wednesdays to St. Paul, not too far from the
So
X.
now when you say Burger Mo's, I mean, now I'm picturing Mo's looking like some guy like Mel from Alice. You remember that
yeah.
show? This is some big burly like Navy
Hey,
cook.
Flo!
With his sleeves rolled up. And you tell me the guy's name is Mo Sharif, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's not what I would have pictured.
He's a 6 foot tall, white haired Iranian man. So
Really?
Not exactly what you're thinking.
I think you
And
boys.
he's got a burger joint.
I think you boys should bring your podcast over to Lamplighters in Maplewood. Woo!
As long as I can do the show behind the glass. But so it's I can't go in and like order tabbouleh. It's a burger.
No, it's a burger joint.
All right.
The
That's
classic American burger joint.
Oh,
with
God.
60 beers on tap. We should mention that.
Oh, really?
Even more. So for
Well,
the
now
beer
don't rip
snobs that
devil's
like to
advocate.
hear. No, I'm just saying. For the beer snobs, we continue the tradition.
I like it.
And
I
we
like
go to
it.
another spot with 60 taps.
And we will gladly be back here on Monday and Tuesday next week.
And they're going to do a burger special and a beer special over there. I haven't told you guys about that yet. But
Cool.
it's
I
gonna
hope
be
the burger
good.
special is Jeff gets one free. You buy
You
one.
love that
You
one.
buy one, Jeff gets one free.
That's pretty much how this works. We feed you,
Well, somebody's got to.
Yeah.
You buy one, Jeff gets one free.
Lowell feed us.
I'll get behind that promotion all day long. It's 45 minutes past the hour. You know what I didn't do is fill you in on a bit we do from time to time called Grill the Host. Are you familiar with Grill the Host? Well, how could you be? I didn't fill you in on it. Basically, when somebody comes on the show, they get 3 no-holds-barred interview-style questions. But people keep putting me in the worst spots on these things. Like Jim Suhan asked me how I didn't puke every day I had to work with Paul Allen. Julius Collins asked me if there's who on the radio that I've worked with is least like the way he represents himself. Like who's the biggest fraud? So I mean, people put me in some binds that I've had to. The guy asked my buddy Jason asked me how many women I banged in my life, and I had to tell him 3. It was fucking embarrassing. No, I don't know.
3.
No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. I made up a number because I don't know. I mean, I don't have.
Didn't he say he guessed you would estimate, though? Which you did?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I just
Called it.
took a guess. But I mean, so sometimes it crashes and burns. Sometimes it gets a little weird. But
Well, it's basically shooting at your feet. That's
Brandon-
basically what the segment
Shooting
is.
at
It's
your feet.
shooting at your feet
I
and
like
making
that. I
you
like
dance.
the feature. Is this a sponsored feature? Do you have a sponsor for
Not
it?
yet.
no, but wasn't Brandon
Voiceover
Warren?
by
if you're
Terry
looking.
Daniel is our sponsor.
Brandon Warren asked like 3 really good questions. I don't remember what they were.
I don't either, but they were good.
Yeah, and they led to the legitimate discussion. And I did not give you a chance to prep for it, but do you have anything off the top of your head? Now, keep in mind, I was a bat boy, a real world bat boy for the 2 World Series. I worked with Paul Allen. I've been in jail with all kinds of hoodlums. And well, that's about it. I haven't done that. That's about it. I mean, I had a radio show, and I've been on the internet with Sean Bernard. That's about it.
There's
Nothing.
nothing wrong with that.
Nothing? So you got nothing?
No, I got okay.
Good segment. All right.
That's where
moving
you
on.
come in.
All right. Well, who are the top 3 media assholes in this town that
Oh,
you'd
see,
like to
why?
kick
Why?
right out of the state?
Why?
Because
Why do
you
people-
know that at least 75% of the local media here suck. So I want you to tell me. What 3 media personalities do you want to see go to fucking Madison and never hear from them again?
Because they
go.
suck or because
go.
they're... No,
because they're fucking assholes.
Because they're assholes?
Yeah, go.
I don't know any assholes.
Come on, go.
No, I swear to God.
He's just kidding.
I seriously can't think
I
of it.
love everybody.
I mean,
everybody.
Sid's not a warm fuzzy guy, but I mean, that's it. I can't think of anybody who's like a complete.
Hasn't he already gone to Madison?
Who would you like to shag in the Care 11 backyard?
That was a
What
good
makes
one.
you, what
I
makes
like
you think
that.
I haven't already?
Oh.
Okay, who have you shagged?
Nah, I'm
By
not
the
a-
way, is that kind of an outdated? Do people say, "Hey, who have you shagged"? I mean, is that
I
kind
never-
of an outdated term?
I think it might be.
Unless it's Austin Powers.
I was gonna
reference.
say,
I think
I-
it's very 1994.
I never heard it before Austin Powers. I don't know that I've heard it much since. To be honest with you,
That's a very British term, isn't it?
Did you? Here's one
Shagging.
for you. Did you ever have intercourse at a radio station?
no, not even fellatio.
Question.
Wow.
That's a good question.
I wasn't a DJ. It wasn't KDWB. For God's sake. I mean, even interns at KDWB get laid. It's not fair. Being
I know.
being a sports radio, people have so many misconceptions about like working like at the fan or what. I mean, like if I meet a girl, they just assume that you have like girlfriends, like multiple girlfriends because you're on the radio. It's like, have you seen our demographic?
Right. Are there a lot of
It's
groupies
98%
for sports
male.
talk
No,
radio?
there's not. There's none. There's none. But like I said, I mean, you go to Jingle Ball and you see the KDWB interns are they're like a boy band. I mean, so it's just
Handing out T-shirts and they're getting laid.
just all
You're on
depends.
the air.
I mean, you've seen the KDWB. I mean, come on.
Okay, yeah, we went to a lot of them back when we did
yeah.
sales.
The
at
the
Clear
booty
Channel,
cruise pretty much says it all. I mean, there's not a lot of mystery to something called a booty cruise. Isn't that what they called it? Or is it a booty?
I think they still do it.
They still call it the booty cruise?
There's only been a few arrests, so.
Okay, here's one more tough question for you.
They should've-
Back when you were involved with other extracurricular activities, and I think we know what we're talking about
Softball,
here.
yeah.
How often were you on the air with Dubay?
I am
fucked
Dubay.
up?
With
Or
PA.
PA.
You know what? That's funny you ask me that because I was just talking about this the other day. I was having a conversation with a friend of mine who's also in recovery and working and doing the right things.
Yep.
And I said that people ask me that all the time, but you clearly have never smoked crack.
Never.
You don't stay high, and that's. Here's the. I'm going to explain the insidiousness of crack cocaine to you right now, and I'm going to keep it very clean. But you have when you take a hit, there's a sensation, a rush, a warm sensation. For me personally, 20 to 30 minutes later, it fades. I mean, it's a very temporary high, and you become agitated and edgy, and anxious, and I mean, you just feel awful, and it's the come down. The come down lasts an hour or two, and you just want to kill the world for that hour. That's why you take another hit, and that's why it just feeds on itself and it never ends. But when I tell people, no, I was never high in the air, because it takes 20 minutes to sober up. I mean, you might look like hell and feel like shit, but you're sober. I mean, I've never done anything. TV.
Well, and
I never did TV or
hour
radio
would
under the
be-
influence of anything.
That hour after would be excruciating to try to do radio anyway. I mean, I can't see how that would even be possible.
Well, I mean, I didn't. I mean, I always, gave myself enough time. But it's not the kind of thing that you can't shake off. I mean, you don't stay high very long, and you shake it off and you move on. I mean,
No, it's not like you were in
say,
you weren't in your logical, right mind at that point in your life anyway. It was just it was a horrible time of your life.
well, yeah, it was a little tricky. It was not a fun. I mean, not that any divorce is fun, but mine was especially not fun.
No.
But yeah, so I mean, like some people say, well, how could you do that and never be high on the air or on TV, on radio, whatever? It's like, that's really easy. I mean, when you drink, you're drunk for hours, and no amount of coffee is going to change that. But in crack, if you stop, an hour later, you're fine. I mean, not fine. I mean, you're still a fucked up crackhead. but
Other than that,
but you can hide it, damn it. But you can hide it pretty damn well. In all honesty,
We really need the more you know jingle on here.
I know.
I mean, well, I never knew how naive I was until I started learning how naive I was. If that makes any sense.
Did that answer your
It
question,
did.
Terry Daniel?
That was a fabulous feature, and this feature's been brought to you by the Lamplighter in Maplewood.
Jeez.
Please drop by and get your can of Strohs.
Oh.
Hey,
gross.
quick question for
Yeah,
you.
yeah.
This
And
is
a
a
beer
terrible
sponsor, too.
transition from what we just talked about into the Gopher game on Saturday, but what the fuck is the deal with Big Ten officiating? And I'm talking about Big Ten basketball. I'm talking about Big Ten football. These guys are not qualified to be in stripes. They are horseshit. I lost my voice in that fucking Purdue game screaming at the line judge because it was so goddamn awful.
Yeah, the Purdue game was ridiculous.
It was seriously ridiculous. I mean, what can we do what can we do?
Well, we can't do anything. I mean, what do you want us to do? I mean,
Oh, what?
there's-
It's embarrassing. It's the officiating.
Well, they're
is
trying to take over the
god-awful.
games, and that's the problem with any kind of officiating where you actually
I agree.
change the outcome of the game with your call.
Which that particular play, and you
Yeah.
know which one I'm talking
Yeah.
about. It could have easily.
Are you talking about the passer and then
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
that was ridiculous. And well, here's the problem. I mean, we know that even watching the NFL that there are moments, and we saw how bad it can be during the strike, and we realized how lucky we were to have the officials we have, blah blah blah. But you watch an NFL game on a week-to-week basis, and you see things that just are a little sketchy, don't make sense, even with replay. By the way, Mike Pereira. We need this. We don't need this. We don't need to go back to the studio every time there's a goddamn review, do we?
Well,
And-
he
and the
always
guy-
agrees with the official. He
Well,
just says, "Well, I kind of agree with him."
Well, and then the copycats. So CBS goes and hires Mike Carey. He's
Right.
fucking awful.
That guy's he's not in a studio. The guy's
I think
laying
he's-
on his
I
couch
think he's
with his
asleep.
hand down his
I'm
pants.
just waiting.
you know.
Seriously, I would.
He shoots into his office next
Well,
to
it's
Aaron
like,
Craig.
it's like he doesn't even know they're going. Oh, are you guys talking to me? It's like, no,
I know.
It's ridiculous.
ISDN.
It's awful. It's just awful, and we just don't care. But my point is, there are 14, 15 NFL games on a week-to-week basis, low teens, depending on how many buys are. There are like a dozen to 15 games every week.
14
But
probably.
there's like 150 college football games. I mean, you think there's enough officials to go around that are any good? Hell no.
Well, and is it actually worse in the Big Ten than it is in the SEC or ACC or Pac-10?
Well, I don't know.
I can't speak for
I don't
the
watch
other
enough.
divisions,
I doubt
but
it.
I've seen
I doubt
enough
I mean, it's spread thin. I mean, there's just not enough talent. I mean, well, there's here, but, but I mean, there's just not enough talent to have these games all properly officiated. I mean, to go to college football. I mean, I always say, you should throw the ball 50 times in college every game because what's the most difficult position to find talent at in the NFL? Cornerback. You think you're going to find it for 100 Division I college teams? If you can't even find it for 30 NFL teams? I mean, there's some horseshit.
But you can't find a quarterback either.
I'll tell you what, though. I mean, you could almost play cornerback for a college team. I mean, there's some really, really bad defensive backs in college football. I mean, especially outside of the SEC, there's some really bad defensive backs. But
you think the Gopher football team will lose out, or do you think they got a shot? I do too.
I think they might win one. They might win one.
You don't think do you think they'll win the game this Saturday?
No,
I don't either.
No, I think
after watching what Iowa did to Northwestern,
I'm a little
frightened for this game coming up.
It's the only one they have a chance, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
I mean, they're not going to win at Wisconsin, people. I know Wisconsin doesn't have a quarterback. Just please, it's Minnesota, Wisconsin. They're not going to win that game, and obviously they're not going to win at Nebraska or beat Ohio State. So I mean, this is the only game where they have a legitimate chance. They might go 7-5. They're likely to go 6-6. So
what if they come back and they dominate this game? Does that change your opinion?
Then so now
you're waffling.
Well,
I would not bet on that.
No, it's just not going to happen. That's why I don't want to give it any serious consideration.
They got to win the game. They have to win.
Last year's Iowa game was an absolute embarrassment.
Oh, it was a disaster.
I mean,
we were at that game.
They couldn't do a damn thing.
They couldn't tackle
anybody. That was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
I think it was last year. No, we had they were at the bank last year.
I was there because I was in the Hubbard suite.
Well, wait a minute. They're here this weekend. They had to be away.
They don't always rotate every other year.
They don't?
No,
they were home.
Not as a rule.
Two
weird
home games in a row, yeah.
Yeah, so
that was brutal.
It was what was it? We just couldn't score. We couldn't move the ball. And the fact that I was in the Hubbard suite, I mean, that was the only year I could have possibly been in the Hubbard suite.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes
That's
sense.
a good point.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And I tailgated with Nadine Babu, who's going to be on the show in a couple weeks anyway. But anyway, I digress. The Gophers, this is the thing. I don't dislike Jerry Kill. I just think he gets a pass for shit that Glenn Mason got his balls ripped off for.
Yeah, and I totally agree with you on that one.
I just don't get it. Well, I do get it because Mason was an asshole, and Jerry Kill's a cute little sympathetic character with epilepsy.
Mason built up expectations too.
People think of Jerry Kill as this cute, cuddly little, woe was him, and Glenn Mason was this egotistical, I don't have time for you, I'm the man kind of a guy, and it clouds people's judgment.
It's just kind of amazing that people are fans of a guy who talks like this about his Gophers.
But he's very candid. You got to give him that. He's very candid.
I like Jerry.
If they play like shit, he says they played like shit.
I have nothing against Jerry Kill. I get a little confused. I don't get confused. The people in the state, they don't make sense to me. I mean, Adrian Peterson makes a mistake. They love him 1 week. They want to never see him again. They want him to be on a milk carton. They want him gone.
Bowl game? You want to talk about bowl games? Bowl games?
And if Adrian Peterson's back in the lineup a week from Sunday, they're going to be loving him to death.
Yeah, totally.
And again, Jerry Kill, I'm glad he's the coach. I like him. I think he's doing a good job. But the fact that people love him to the extent that they do and dislike Glenn Mason to the extent that they did, when Mason is absolutely a better coach than Kill, it blows my mind.
Well,
the reactions of the fans is what gets to me.
Are they ever going to get over this hump in our lifetime, though, where they can finally just dominate and win like 9 or 10? Is that ever going to happen?
I am absolutely 100% positive I will never see them play in a Rose Bowl. I'm 100%
but
convinced
if they get a year where they play Rutgers and Maryland, like Wisconsin's got Rutgers and Maryland this year, two easy wins right there.
You still have to win a Big Ten championship game against Ohio State or somebody. I mean, I don't know.
The recruiting doesn't make the math work out very well for us. So
but
recruiting at Ohio State or Michigan State.
Yeah, I mean, you're always
win the damn game Saturday. That's all I got to say. Win the damn game.
They have to. I mean, this is a game you've got to have. I'm not going to say they can't win. I mean, they sure have a chance. I was not unbeatable, but I mean, how do you lose to Illinois? It's just going to look like another road game that people are just going to forget about. It
was a horrible loss,
but it's one of the most epic losses I've seen in the last 20 years of Gopher football, because this was a team that was, I mean, they were going to be ranked in the playoff poll. The new version of the BCS. They were going to be in that. I mean, not in the playoff. They were going to be in that poll. I mean, had they won that game. I mean, they were going to have one loss, be ranked, and be in position to potentially contend. And
they probably would have moved up to about 20th, 21st, maybe.
Maybe even higher. Who knows? Because the playoff poll is completely different from the coaches poll, or whatever the hell they were appearing in.
Well, and the point you made was that it would go down as a no big deal on Kill's resume over the last couple weeks or whatever. What would you say? What do you think that it pretty much has? It's fallen flat. It doesn't seem like it's a big deal to anybody.
Yeah, it's like nobody cares. But I mean, the Michigan loss for Mason. I mean, people still want to talk about that. I mean, I guess I'm talking about it right now. But I mean, that's two ranked teams playing to go to the Rose Bowl, and you run for 400 yards and you lose at the end by 3 or 4, whatever the hell it was. I mean,
was that the one where they're up like 28-3 in the fourth quarter?
Well, exactly. But I mean, the way they lost makes it look worse than it was. It's still a better loss than when you had last week. But that's going to be it. We're going to wrap up from Devil's Advocate today. We'll be at Burger Most tomorrow.
It's a put on. Boy, was I flat there. That was terrible. Can you edit that out?
We got a lot of stuff to edit out. I really took a big step backwards today. But thanks to Terry Daniel. Thanks to our 19,000 listeners, by the way. We really appreciate it. For Jason Montgomery, John Bernard, who's going to suck it today? I have no suck it. I suck it. I should suck it.